She brought him soup for work, then placed her baby in his arms and said, "She's yours." He was bent over the timber, sweat rolling into his eyes, when the sound of footsteps broke the steady rhythm of his hammer. He looked up. She was there, not close, just enough for him to see the pot in her hands. Steam rose in the heat of the day. She didn't speak. She set the pot on a plank beside him. He straightened, shoulders stiff. "What's this?" She didn't answer. "Why'd you come?" His voice was low, already sharp. Her eyes held him, but her mouth stayed closed. He wiped his hands on his trousers, stepped toward the pot. The smell hit him first, thick and sour, like smoke that clung after a fire. He lifted the lid. Soup bubbled soft, pale broth, bits of root and meat floating. "You walked all the way out here. For this?" She nodded once. "That's all?" She didn't move. He dipped the wooden spoon resting against the rim. The broth dripped thin and slow. He tasted it. His jaw tightened. He spat it into the dirt. "Bitter." Her voice broke silence at last. "Made it this morning." He wiped his mouth with the back of his hand. "Tastes burnt." "It isn't." "Smells of ash." Her gaze didn't shift. "That's how it came." He turned from her, swung the hammer hard into the timber, as if the nail had insulted him. The echo rang across the yard. "You could have stayed home," he muttered. "You eat it." He laughed once, sharp. "Eat that?" She didn't answer. He dropped the hammer, crouched by the pot again. He stared into it as if it might reveal something hidden. The broth shimmered greasy in the sun. "What are you trying to do?" "Feed you." He lifted his head, studied her. "Since when?" "Since always." His jaw flexed. "Don't lie." She shifted her weight, arms folding. "It's soup, nothing more." "There's always more with you." Her face didn't change. "Then say it." He leaned close, voice cut short. "Why now?" She looked at the pot. "Because you work." "I've worked every day since I could walk. Never saw you carrying food before. I'm here now." He tasted again, slower. Swallowed this time. The bitterness stayed on his tongue. "You poisoned it." Her eyes flickered. "Would you know if I had?" He set the spoon down hard. "Don't play games." She stepped closer. "Then don't ask." He stared at her, sweat streaking the dust on his face. "What do you want?" Her answer came soft. "Nothing." "You don't bring nothing." "Believe what you want." He shook his head. "You never did a thing without reason." She looked at the timber, the hammer, his hands. "You've built enough fences to know some things hold." He frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" She didn't explain. He walked a few paces away, wiping sweat from his forehead. The sun beat heavy. Behind him, the pot steamed quiet, sour smell spreading. He wanted her gone, but he couldn't say it. Not yet. He turned back. "Say what you came to say." "I already did." "You said nothing." "I brought soup." He barked a laugh, but it came out hollow. "Soup." She stepped to the pot, ladled a spoonful, and drank. Her throat moved slow. She set the spoon back down. "See? Not poisoned." He studied her, unsettled. Still bitter. "Not everything sweetens." He clenched his jaw. "Why are you here, really?" "To remind you." "Of what?" Her eyes didn't waver. "What you left behind." His chest tightened. He turned back to the timber, gripped the hammer, swung until the nail bent under the blow. His breath grew heavy, uneven. "Go home," he muttered. She didn't move. "Did you hear me?" "Yes." "Then leave." "No." He slammed the hammer down again. The wood split, a crack running deep. "You enjoy this," he said. Her voice was steady. "Not enjoyment. Truth." He faced her. "Whose truth?" "Yours." He shook his head, bitter smile twisting. "Mine?" "Yes." The air between them felt thick, pressing. He stared at her until his eyes watered from the sun. She didn't blink. Finally, he lowered his voice. "What do you want from me?" Her answer came like a knife. "To see you taste it." He looked again at the pot. Steam curled, faint scent of ash rising like memory. He dipped the spoon, lifted it to his lips, forced it down. His stomach turned, but he swallowed. He met her eyes, and she nodded once, as if satisfied. "Good," she said. "Good." His voice cracked. "You can live with it." He set the spoon down slow, the handle clinking against the rim. He didn't speak. She turned and walked away. steps steady, leaving the pot where it sat. He stood watching until she vanished past the fence line, the hammer heavy in his hand, the taste of ash still burning his mouth. He was bent low over the boards, sweat dripping when her shadow returned. He didn't need to look up. He felt it. The silence, the weight of it, pressed harder than the sun. He straightened, already tense. The pot was in her hand again, but this time another weight rested on her arm, a bundled child. His throat dried. "What's that?" She stepped closer, slow, steady. No words. Only the sound of cloth shifting as the baby stirred. He set the hammer down. "Why are you here again?" She reached him, held the bundle out. The baby whimpered, then let out a thin, sharp cry. He stared. No. She didn't blink. "She's yours." He laughed, harsh, too loud. "Mine, don't you dare." Her face stayed calm. "I dare." "You've lost your mind." "Hold her." He stepped back. "Get away from me." "You'll take her." "I'll do no such thing." She moved forward, pressing the baby into his chest. His hands went up on instinct, catching the small weight. Warmth, fragile and alive, against him. He froze, stiff as stone. The baby cried louder, his heart hammered with it. I can't." "You can," she said. He shook his head, jaw clenching. "Not mine." "She is." His voice dropped low. "You know that's a lie." Her reply was firm. "It's truth." He looked at the baby's face, red from crying, mouth opening and closing like a fish on dry ground. He swallowed hard. "It's not possible," he whispered. "It is." His grip faltered. "Why now? Why bring this to me now?" "Because you need to see." "See what?" "What you did." His eyes flared. "Don't put that on me." "You put it on yourself." The baby cried sharper, piercing. He rocked without meaning to, trying to still her. His arms betrayed him, moving gentle, steady. "You've planned this," he said. "No." "Then why bring her here?" "She belongs with you." He snapped back, voice cutting. "She belongs with her mother." Her jaw tightened. "She has her mother." "Then keep her." "She has her father too." "Don't call me that." "I just did." He breathed heavy, each word ground out. "You're trying to ruin me." "I don't need to." "You think anyone will believe this?" "They don't need to." He laughed again, bitter. "You'll shame yourself before you shame me." Her voice didn't shake. "I already know my shame." "Do you?" The question cut deeper than the cry in his arms. He looked at her, saw no fear, no flinch, only a steady calm that made his chest twist. "Take her back," he muttered. "No." "I won't keep her." "You will." "I said no." The baby, startled at his voice, wailed louder. He winced, bouncing her against him, desperate to hush her, though he didn't know how. "Look," she said. "She knows you." "Knows nothing." "Knows you." He shook his head, sweat rolling down his temple. "You're cruel. Truth is cruel." "I don't believe this." "You don't have to." The baby's fists waved. He stared down, something in him sinking. "What's her name?" "Doesn't matter." "It matters to me." Her eyes locked on his. "Then name her." He swallowed. "Don't do this." "You asked." His throat worked. Words stuck. The baby whimpered softer now, as if listening. "I can't," he said. "You must." "Why me?" "Because you gave her life." His hands trembled. "Stop it." "I won't." "She'll never carry my name." "She already does." He barked out, half growl, half laugh. "You'll destroy everything with this talk." Her tone was steady. "It's already destroyed." He closed his eyes, rocked the baby unconsciously. "You think I'll take her in?" "Raise her." "You don't choose. Blood chooses." "There's no proof." "You're holding it." The baby quieted, breathing soft against his chest. He felt the weight of her small heart pulsing against his ribs, his jaw locked. "You're lying," he said again. But the words rang hollow. "Then drop her," she said coldly. His eyes flew open. "What?" "If she isn't yours, drop her." He held tighter. "Don't you dare." "Do it. Let her fall." "I won't." "Because you know." He swallowed hard, rage and fear twisting. "You're sick." "No. Just done with silence." The baby shifted, settled in the crook of his arm. He stared at her face, soft, unaware, untouched by the venom passing above her. His voice cracked. "What do you want from me?" Her eyes softened just for a moment. "I want you to see her." "I see her." "Not yet." He shook his head. "You'll regret this." "No," she said. "You will." They stood locked in that silence, the baby between them, breathing steady now. He felt the heat of her small body, the life undeniable. He whispered, almost to himself, "If this is true, it means exactly what you fear." He lifted his eyes, searching hers. "I can't carry this." "You already do." His breath came sharp, unsteady. "She'll ruin me." "She'll save you." He let out a broken sound, half laugh, half sob. "Save me? How?" "By being yours." The words fell heavy. He wanted to deny, to throw them back at her, but the baby's soft breath warmed his chest. At last he said weakly, "Take her." "No, I can't." "You can." He tried to push the baby toward her, but his arms resisted, clutching close. He cursed under his breath, shaking. She stepped back, voice final. "Keep her. She'll show you what you are." He stood rooted, baby in his arms, watching her turn. She walked slow, sure, leaving the pot of soup on the plank again. Steam curled faint, that same smell of ash. He called after her, voice hoarse, "Come back." She didn't. The baby stirred, whimpered, then pressed her face into his chest. He looked down, helpless, the truth crushing in silence heavier than any hammer. He carried the baby out of the shed, voice cracking as he called after her, "You can't leave her with me." His shout broke across the empty yard. She kept walking, slow along the fence line, skirts brushing against tall grass. The baby stirred in his arms, fussing at his rough grip. "Stop!" he barked. She didn't. He hurried after her, dust rising with his steps. "Take her back." Her voice was calm, without turning. "She's where she belongs." "Not with me." "With you." He caught up, blocking her path. "I'll not be made a fool." "You already are." His face tightened. He looked at the porches across the road. 2 neighbors sat watching. Rocking chairs creaking. Another stood in the yard, leaning on a post, eyes fixed. Gossip moved faster than any horse. He felt the heat of it, every gaze burning through him. "See what you've done," he hissed. She looked at the neighbors, then back at him. "Truth doesn't hide." "Truth." "This." He shook the baby lightly, though careful not to harm her. "This is lies." The woman's stare didn't waver. "Then send her down." His grip tightened. "You'd like that." Her voice cut clean. "Do it." He swallowed, shame biting deep. The neighbors leaned closer, whispering. He caught words carried by wind. Baby. Him. Hers. He growled under his breath. "You'll regret this." She stepped past him, continuing along the fence. He followed. "Where are you going?" "Walking." "Walking where?" "Here." He clenched his teeth, trailing behind. The baby cried louder. He rocked her without thinking, cursing himself for it. From the road, the sound of hooves. A deputy rode up, hat tilted back, eyes narrow with a half smile. "Well now," the deputy said. "Looks lively out here." The man stiffened. "Nothing to see." The deputy swung down from his horse, slow and easy. "Funny. Looks like something." The woman stopped walking, waited. The deputy eyed the baby, then the man's tight grip. "Yours?" The man snapped quick. "No." The deputy raised an eyebrow. "Then why is she holding on to you so?" "Because this woman shoved her at me." The deputy turned his gaze to the woman. "That true?" Her voice was steady. "No." The man's jaw locked. "She's lying." The deputy's smile lingered, thin. "One of you is." The neighbors on their porches leaned closer, whispering harder. The man felt sweat down his back, the baby's wails louder than the cicadas. The deputy tilted his head. "Funny thing about truth, it walks on its own. Don't need help." The man barked. "You don't know anything." The deputy stepped nearer, boots crunching dirt. "I know enough." The woman's silence filled the space. She didn't move, didn't flinch, only kept her eyes fixed on the man. The deputy watched them both, then smirked. "I'll leave you to it." The man snapped, "Don't you spread this." The deputy laughed low. "Spread? You think I need to? Folks already seen enough." He mounted his horse again, pulling the reins. "Word travels faster than me." The man's voice broke with fury. "Get gone." The deputy tipped his hat. "Already am." He rode off, dust curling behind. The man turned back to her, face flushed, jaw tight. "See what you've done." Her reply was quiet. "I didn't call him." "You might as well have." "I only walked." "You knew what it would bring." "I knew nothing." He shook his head, voice rising. "You set me up. You want me ruined." She stood steady. "You ruined yourself." The neighbors shifted on their porches, whispering louder now. The baby cried, fists waving in the air. "Quiet," he muttered, rocking her. He hated how his hands gentled, how the child calmed at his touch. She watched. "She knows you." "Stop saying that." "She does." "Enough." His shout startled the baby again. Her cry tore through the yard, higher, sharper. The woman spoke calm, almost soft. "You can't silence her." His eyes burned. "Watch me." She shook her head. "She'll cry louder." The neighbors rose from their chairs, drifting closer to the fence. Curiosity weighed the air. Every whisper carried his name. He stepped closer to her, voice low. "Go home." "No." "Go." "You go." His chest heaved. "This is my land." She looked at the fence line stretching long. "Land don't keep secrets." He swallowed hard, pulse hammering. "You think silence is power. It isn't." Her eyes cut through him. "It is stronger than your shouting." He looked down at the baby, saw her face flushed, damp from tears. His arms ached from holding her, yet he couldn't let go. "You'll destroy me," he muttered. She answered simple. "You're already destroyed." The neighbors stopped close enough to hear. He glared at them. "Go on home." One spat tobacco, muttered, "Don't mind us." The woman kept walking along the fence. He followed, still holding the baby. The neighbors trailed behind like shadows. His voice was rough now. "Where does this end?" Her answer was quiet, final. "At the truth." He stopped, shaking his head, unable to speak. The baby whimpered again, pressed her face against his chest. The woman kept moving, slow, steady, each step marking him deeper into shame. The neighbors followed, whispering her words back and forth like scripture, and the man, clutching the baby, could feel every eye, every silence, every whisper tightening around his throat like a rope. He tied the horse outside the brick building and slammed the door behind him. Dust clung to his boots, sweat streaked his shirt, but he didn't care. He wanted to be heard. The sheriff sat behind the desk, polishing the edges of his badge with a cloth, slow and steady. The shine caught the dim light, flashing gold. The man didn't wait. "She's lying." The sheriff didn't look up right away. He kept rubbing the badge, turning it with care, as if the words hadn't reached him. "Sheriff, did you hear me?" At last, the sheriff set the badge down, folding the cloth. "I heard." "Then say something." The sheriff leaned back in his chair. "What do you want me to say?" "Tell me you know she's lying." The sheriff's eyes narrowed. "Do I?" The man's jaw locked. "You do." The sheriff drummed his fingers against the desk. "Then prove it." "I shouldn't have to." "Then don't." The man stepped closer, voice tight. "You're supposed to keep order." "I do." "Then keep it now." The sheriff picked the badge back up, turned it in his hand. The gold caught the light again. "Order doesn't come from me. It comes from what people believe. They believe wrong." The sheriff's mouth twitched. Almost a smile. "Belief is louder than truth." The man's voice rose. "You'll stand by her word over mine?" "I'll stand by what holds." "She's trying to ruin me." "She's trying something." The man leaned against the desk. "You know my family. You know I wouldn't—" The sheriff cut in sharp. "I know your family. I know the debts they left behind. I know the drinking, the fighting, the fields sold off piece by piece. I know what I've seen." The man's face flushed. "That's got nothing to do with this." "It has everything to do with this." He slammed his hand on the desk. "That child isn't mine." The sheriff's voice dropped. "Then prove it." "I can't prove a lie." The sheriff studied him slow. "Then maybe it isn't a lie." The man's chest heaved. "You're against me." "I'm against no one. I just wear this." He tapped the badge, the sound sharp. "This doesn't care what you say. It cares what sticks." The man shook his head. "You're letting her speak poison. She isn't the one talking now. It's you. She'll make people think that land belongs to her." The sheriff's gaze sharpened. "Maybe it does." The man froze. "What?" "You heard me. That land is mine." Land shifts easy when a child's named. He laughed bitterly. You'd let gossip draw lines on a map? The sheriff leaned forward. Gossip shapes more than maps. It shapes names, and names carve legacies. The man pointed a finger. You think she can take what's mine? The sheriff's tone stayed calm. I think she's already started. He stepped back, fists tight at his sides. You've hated me since we were boys. The sheriff didn't deny it. Maybe. You've wanted me down. Maybe I just watch. Maybe you fall on your own. The man's voice broke raw. You'll let her win. Not mine to let. She'll turn my name into dirt. The sheriff shrugged. Names wash easy in dirt. The man glared at the badge gleaming on the desk. That thing means nothing if you don't stop her. The sheriff's eyes hardened. That thing means I don't stop truth when it walks. The man's breath came sharp. You'll regret this. The sheriff leaned back, folding his hands. Maybe, but you'll regret louder. The room fell quiet. The man stared at the badge, then at the sheriff's steady eyes. His throat worked, but words failed. At last, he whispered, She's lying. The sheriff's reply came cold. Then prove it. The man turned, stormed out, boots pounding the floorboards. The door slammed behind him, echo hanging. Outside, he stood on the street, breath ragged. Folks passing glanced at him, whispering under their breath. He felt their stares, the same as out on the fence line. He gripped his fists, jaw trembling with rage. Behind him, inside the office, the sheriff sat quiet. He picked up the badge again, polished it slow, as if nothing had changed. But the gleam on the metal shone brighter, and the weight of it pressed like iron on the man's back as he walked away. He muttered to himself, voice breaking, Not mine. But the word carried no strength, only fear that the badge, the law, and the whispers were already binding him tighter than chains. The baby slept in a basket near the stove. The woman sat at the table, the old ledger spread open before her. The pages smelled of dust and oil, her mother's handwriting neat and sharp. She turned a page slow, her finger tracing down a list of names. Each carried numbers beside them, some crossed out, some circled, some left open waiting. She stopped on his family name. It was written bold, underlined twice. The debt never paid. She whispered, eyes on the baby. See? He owed long before you were born. The baby stirred but didn't wake. She tapped the name with her finger. And one day, you'll make them answer. A knock came at the door. Sharp, then softer, like politeness after intrusion. She closed the ledger quick, slid it half under another book. Come in. The door creaked open. A neighbor woman stepped inside, bonnet loose, a smile stretched wide. Evening. The woman nodded. Evening. Thought I'd stop by. Check on you. I don't need checking. The neighbor smiled thinner. Still, I thought I would. Her eyes drifted to the basket. She's quiet. She sleeps. She favors him. The woman's jaw tightened. She favors herself. The neighbor chuckled. Well, children carry what they're given. The woman said nothing. The neighbor stepped closer to the table, glancing at the closed books. What's that? Nothing. Looked like something. It isn't. The neighbor leaned a hand on the table. You've caused a stir. I've done nothing. You've brought him trouble. He carries his own trouble. The neighbor tilted her head. Folks say different. Folks say too much. The neighbor lowered her voice, sweet. Best to keep quiet, for your sake. The woman's eyes lifted steady. And if I don't, then tongues will wag harder, they'll cut deeper, and when they're done, nothing of you will stand. The baby whimpered, shifting in the basket. The woman moved quick, lifting her, holding close. The neighbor watched, smile never leaving. She's small now, but she'll grow, and every time they look at her, they'll remember your words. The woman rocked the child. Good. The neighbor blinked. Good? Yes. You want them talking? I want them seeing. The neighbor laughed soft, shaking her head. Pride don't keep a roof. Neither do lies. Truth can starve a body same as lies. The woman held her gaze. I'll feed her. The neighbor's smile thinned to nothing. On what? The woman's hand brushed the ledger's edge, still hidden. On what's owed. The neighbor's eyes sharpened, suspicion flickering. What do you mean? Nothing. Sounded like something. The woman didn't answer. The neighbor sighed, stepping back toward the door. You should think careful. Men don't forgive women who speak too loud. The woman's voice cut through the quiet. Men don't forgive women who speak at all. The neighbor paused, turned slightly, eyes narrowing. Watch yourself. The woman stroked the baby's hair. I already do. The neighbor lingered a breath, then left, door closing behind her. Silence filled the room again, heavy. The woman sat back at the table, opening the ledger once more. The baby's head rested on her shoulder, warm and small. She traced the family name again, pressing harder this time. She whispered to the child, He'll deny you. He'll shout until his voice breaks. But this book doesn't forget. The baby shifted, sighing in her sleep. The woman's eyes hardened. Neither do I. She flipped more pages, rows of debts staring back at her. Men who owed, men who stole, men who buried their shame beneath land and barns. Her mother had written it all, neat and patient, a record that cut deeper than law. She whispered, almost to herself, This is what they fear. Memory written down. The fire in the stove hissed, wood cracking soft. She closed the ledger slow, set her hand flat on the cover as if swearing to it. The baby stirred again. She lowered her voice. You'll grow in this house, with names around you, with debts behind you. You'll learn what's owed. You'll learn who pays. Outside, footsteps passed on the road, voices carrying. She heard her name, his name. The baby's cry repeated as gossip. She didn't rise to the window. She only held the child closer, let the voices move on. She whispered once more, steady. They can whisper all they like. We'll answer with truth. The baby pressed her cheek to the woman's neck, soft breath warm. The ledger sat closed, heavy on the table, waiting. He sat on the edge of the well, bottle in hand, the moon sharp above. The stone was cold through his trousers. He drank deep, wiped his mouth with the back of his hand, and stared into the black mouth of the well. His voice was rough, muttering to the dark. She's lying. All of it. The silence swallowed him whole. He tipped the bottle again. The burn hit his chest, warm and heavy. He leaned forward, peering down into the dark. The air inside was colder, damp, as if it breathed. Then he heard it. Low, broken. His father's voice. You know what you did. The man froze. His throat tightened. No. The voice came again, softer. You know. He shook his head, laughing dry. Drunk. That's all. Not drunk. Guilty. He slammed the bottle on the stone rim, glass clinking. Shut up. The wind whispered through the grass. The sound seemed to curl out of the well, carrying words. She remembers. His breath caught. He pressed his palms hard against his ears. Stop. She remembers the night. No. The fence line, the barn, the silence after. He groaned low, rocking forward. That was nothing. It was everything. His jaw clenched. He spat into the well, spit echoing down. You don't know. I was there, the voice said. In you. He whispered, broken. You were a cruel man, and you are my son. He slammed the bottle against the stone. It didn't break, only rang sharp. You made me this. You chose it. No. Yes. He leaned over the well, staring down hard, but there was nothing, only black. The air smelled of damp stone and rot. The voice shifted, mocking. You touched what was not yours. He gritted his teeth. She came to me. She was a girl. She was willing. She was afraid. He gripped the bottle tight, knuckles white. Stop twisting it. Truth doesn't twist. His breath came fast, chest pounding. He shouted into the well. She lies. The cry came back, faint, like an echo that wasn't his own. Lies. His stomach turned. He staggered back, bottle slipping from his hand, rolling in the dirt. From the darkness, the whisper grew softer. And now the child cries with your voice. He shook his head, backing away. Not mine. Yours. Not mine. The well stayed silent. He bent down, picked up a stone from the ground, rough and heavy. He hurled it into the mouth of the well. He waited for the sound. Nothing came. No splash, no thud, only silence. His breath caught. He leaned forward, desperate. Where is it? The dark gave nothing back. He whispered, trembling. Why no echo? The voice rose again, smooth. Because it never ends. He stumbled, falling against the stone rim, clutching it like it might hold him steady. His eyes burned. "Father," he whispered, "what do I do?" The voice was slow, cruel. "Confess." "I can't." "You must." "They'll kill me." "They already are." His hands shook, gripping the cold stone. He could still feel the girl's face in his memory, pale in moonlight years ago. The silence after, the shame he buried. He had never spoken of it, but she remembered. His father's voice pressed close. "You gave her the child." "No." "You gave her the burden." "No." "You gave her your name." "Whether you admit it or not." He pressed his forehead against the stone rim, tears hot on his face. "I didn't want this." "You wanted her." "Stop." "You wanted what was never yours." "Stop!" His shout carried across the empty night. Dogs barked in the distance. He listened, chest heaving. Then silence again. He whispered, weak. "It was only once." The voice mocked him. "Once is enough." His fists hit the stone rim, skin splitting. Blood smeared across the cold surface. He didn't care. "You don't understand," he muttered. "I was young. I was like me." He froze. "You are my son." He shook his head hard, choking on the words. "I'm not you. You are worse." "No." "Yes." He pushed back from the well, staggering in the dirt. He picked up another stone, larger, heavier, and hurled it in. Again, no sound. He stared wide-eyed. "Why?" The voice whispered. "Because guilt swallows all." He fell to his knees, hands gripping the dirt. His breath rasped. His eyes closed tight. The baby's cry echoed in his mind, blending with his father's voice, weaving into one. "You'll never escape," the voice said. He covered his ears, rocking. "She's lying." The whisper lingered. "She tells what you fear." "I didn't." "You did." "I didn't." "You did." He let out a raw scream, long and broken. The sound tore through his chest and faded into the night. The well swallowed it whole, gave nothing back. He stayed on his knees, shaking. At last, he whispered, hollow, "If I confess, I lose everything." The voice was calm. "If you don't, you lose more." He stared into the dark mouth, lips trembling. "What do I do?" The well answered with silence. The bottle lay nearby, glinting in the moonlight. He crawled to it, lifted it, drank deep. The burn numbed nothing. He sat again on the rim, eyes fixed on the black inside. He waited for the voice to return, but the well was quiet now. The only sound was his breath, ragged, broken. Still, the silence was worse than the whispers. He whispered into it, voice weak. "Not mine." The well didn't answer. He hurled the bottle inside. Glass shattered. At least he thought it did. But no echo rose back, only darkness. He leaned forward, desperate, whispering again, "Not mine." The night stayed still, heavy. But deep inside, he knew. The first shout came from across the road. Then another. Smoke rose in the distance, curling black against the sky. He dropped his tools, eyes wide. Damn it! Neighbors were already running with buckets, shouting back and forth. "Get water." "Bring more." He sprinted toward the field, the heat hitting his face before he reached the edge. Flames licked through dry grass, spreading fast. "Over here," someone yelled. He grabbed a bucket, sloshed water forward. Steam hissed, but the fire kept climbing, moving like it had a will of its own. "Keep it down. Don't let it jump the fence." The woman stood at the far end, baby in her arms. She didn't move. The fire's glow lit her face. He shouted at her, "Get back." She didn't answer. "Take the baby home." She held her ground. He cursed, swung the bucket again. His arms ached, heat blistering his skin. Neighbors ran past, forming a line, buckets slamming water into the flames. The deputy appeared, hat pulled low, eyes scanning the fire. He muttered under his breath, "Just loud enough." "This ain't natural." The man spun toward him. "What?" The deputy smirked. "Fire don't spread this fast, not on its own." "You saying she said it?" "I didn't say." The woman's eyes never left him, steady through the smoke. The baby started to cry, shrill, piercing. "Get her out of here," he roared again. She rocked the child, calm. "Do your work." He growled, swung the bucket harder, sweat and smoke stinging his eyes. Flames leapt high, eating the grass, reaching for the fence. A neighbor shouted, "It's catching!" Another yelled, "Bring more!" The line of men stumbled, choking on smoke, but they kept at it, throwing water, stamping flames. The deputy leaned near the man, voice low. "Feels like a warning." "From who?" The deputy's eyes cut toward the woman. "Who do you think?" The man gritted his teeth. "She wouldn't." "Wouldn't she?" The baby's cry rose louder, sharp against the roar of fire. He shouted over the noise, voice raw. "Why are you just standing there?" She answered steady. "Because it isn't mine to fight. You'll let it burn. You'll let it burn." The flames surged higher. He threw another bucket, coughing hard. His chest burned. The neighbors muttered between themselves, voices thick with fear. "She just watches. Like she knows. Maybe she does." The words cut him worse than the smoke. He swung his bucket until his arms trembled, but the fire only spread. The deputy muttered, "You can't stop what wants to eat." The man snapped back. "Help me then." The deputy shrugged. "Ain't mine to stop either." He cursed, turned back to the flames. Bucket slammed, water splashing, but it barely made a dent. The woman shifted the baby higher on her hip. The child's face was red from crying. Eyes squeezed tight. She whispered something soft against the baby's hair, words no one else could hear. The man stumbled closer, panting. "Go home. Take her away." She looked at him through the smoke. "She belongs here." His eyes flared. "Not in this." "Yes, in this." He glared, rage and fear twisting. "You want me dead?" She didn't blink. "I want you seen." The baby wailed louder, the sound carrying over the crackle of flames. Neighbors muttered, nervous. "It don't sound right." "Whole thing feels cursed." "Maybe it is." The man shouted back at them, voice cracking. "It's not cursed, just fire." The deputy smirked. "Fire tells truth better than tongues." "Shut up," the man growled. The fire roared higher, but then, sudden, the wind shifted. Smoke billowed hard in another direction, flames bending back. Buckets hit their mark. Steam rose thick, choking, but slowly the fire began to shrink. "Keep at it," a neighbor yelled. Water slammed, boots stamped, shouts rang. At last, the flames broke, dying in patches, until only smoke and ash remained. The men coughed, bent over, sweat running dark streaks across their faces. The air stank of burnt grass. The man dropped his bucket, chest heaving. He turned, eyes wild. She still stood there, baby on her hip, calm. He staggered toward her. "Why didn't you move?" She held his gaze. "Because you needed to see." "See what?" "How fast it spreads." His chest tightened. "You're mad." "Maybe, but I'm not blind." The baby's cries slowed, soft whimpers now. She stroked the child's back, rocking gentle. The deputy stepped closer, smirk still there. She stood through it, like she knew it wouldn't touch her. The man snapped. "You think she started it?" The deputy shrugged. "Didn't say. But if she did, it worked." The woman's eyes never left the man. "I don't need fire to show truth." He spat into the ash. "You've cursed me. You cursed yourself." His voice cracked. "You'll ruin me." Her tone was soft, steady. "No, you'll ruin yourself." He stepped closer, shaking. "Why won't you stop?" She shifted the baby higher, the child's cheek resting against her shoulder. "Because she deserves better than silence." The man's eyes burned. "That baby will bury me." Her answer was calm. "No, she'll bury your lies." The deputy chuckled low. "Guess the fire already started." The man turned on him. "Shut your mouth." The deputy tipped his hat. "Just saying what folks see." Neighbors drifted back toward their homes, whispering, glancing over shoulders. Ash still floated in the air, clinging to clothes, to skin. The man watched them go, panic settling heavy. He turned back to her, desperate. "Take her away. Take her back." She rocked the baby, voice firm. "She stays with you." His breath came ragged. "I can't." "You already do." He stumbled back, eyes wild, chest heaving. The fire was out, but the smoke still clung, thick and choking. And in that haze, she stood steady, the baby quiet now, as if the flames had burned only him. By morning, the story had spread farther than the smoke. He felt it in every stare as he rode into town. Men leaned on railings, chewing slow, eyes following him. Women clustered in twos and threes, whispering behind gloved hands. Children stared wide, tugged by their mothers inside. He dismounted hard, boots hitting the dirt. His jaw was tight, his chest still raw from smoke. He walked straight toward the porch of the store where half the town had gathered. "Morning," one man muttered, spitting tobacco into the dust. He gave no reply. The woman was already there, standing near the steps, baby in her arms. She looked calm, almost rested. The baby shifted, let out a small cry. All eyes followed the sound. He pointed a finger sharp. "Stop telling them." She answered steady. "She's yours." The men on the porch shifted, glances darting. One coughed. Another chuckled low. He growled, "You hear her." "Lies." A man on the porch leaned forward. "Then why you holding her yesterday like she was yours?" He snapped back. "Because she shoved her at me." A woman muttered, "She didn't look shoved." "She's lying." He barked again, voice cracking. The woman's tone stayed calm. "She's his." The baby cried louder, fists waving. He felt sweat roll down his temple. He looked at the circle of faces, all waiting. "You all believe this?" he demanded. Silence answered first. Then an old man spat into the dirt. "Don't need to believe. We saw." "You saw nothing." "We saw enough." The woman rocked the baby, eyes never leaving him. "Truth doesn't need proof." His jaw clenched. "You'll ruin me." Her voice was low, steady. "I'll show you." A man on the porch laughed. "Looks like she already did." The women whispered sharper now, glances slicing through the air. One said, "She's brave." Another said, "She's reckless." A third muttered, "She's right." He turned toward them, desperate. "You'd take her word over mine." The oldest woman spoke, voice clear. "We take what we see in your eyes." His throat tightened. "You don't know me." "We know enough." The baby's cry rose again, piercing, cutting the silence. He shouted over it. "She's lying," the woman whispered to the child, soothing her, then looked up. "She's his." The words landed heavy, final. The deputy leaned against the post nearby, chewing a toothpick, smirk on his lips. Funny how a crowd don't need a gavel. They just need ears. The man spun on him. "Shut your mouth." The deputy shrugged. "Not my mouth that matters. It's theirs." The porch murmured, shifting like a tide. Men muttered curses. Women traded knowing glances. Judgment thickened in the air, heavier than smoke. He stepped closer to her, voice sharp. "You'll take it back." She shook her head. "No." "You will." "No." The deputy laughed under his breath. "Sounds like a verdict." The man turned on him again. "You'll pay for this." The deputy only tipped his hat. "Not me on trial." He looked back at the faces on the porch, at the men spitting tobacco, the women whispering, the eyes all fixed on him. His hands shook. "You think you can damn me with words," he said. The woman answered, soft but strong. "Words last longer than you." He lunged closer, his face inches from hers. "Stop it." She didn't flinch. "She's yours." The baby cried again, thin but steady, as if the sound itself was evidence. The crowd shifted. A man muttered, "Looks just like him." Another replied, "Spits like him too." He snapped, "Shut up." The women kept whispering, faster now. "She's braver than him. She'll raise that child alone. He'll never wash this clean." He pressed his palms against the porch rail, leaning hard, chest heaving. "You'll destroy me." The woman's voice was steady. "You'll destroy yourself." The baby quieted in her arms, eyelids heavy, face turned into her shoulder. The silence after the cries rang louder than the noise. The deputy muttered, almost amused, "Court's adjourned." The man spun, pointing at him. "This isn't law." The deputy shrugged. "Law don't matter when folks already judged." The man turned back to the porch, desperate. "She lies. You know she lies." No one answered. The porch stayed heavy, stares cold. At last the oldest woman spoke again. She said what needed saying. He shook his head, voice breaking. It isn't true, but his words landed weak, falling dead against the silence. The woman adjusted the baby, looked at him one last time, then stepped down off the porch. She walked past him slow, steady, the child safe against her chest. The crowd parted for her. No one stopped her. Some nodded as she passed. He stood frozen, sweat dripping, chest burning. The deputy stepped down from the post, voice low in his ear. "You can fight a man with fists. You can't fight whispers." The man trembled, fists tight. I'll prove it false, the deputy smirked. You'll be proving till you die. He stood there, staring at the dust she left behind, the murmurs following her down the road. Every step she took carried more weight than the law, more power than his denials. He whispered to himself, broken. Not mine. But the town had already chosen. The sheriff sat alone at his desk, letter unfolded before him. The paper was creased, the ink sharp and dark. His eyes moved slow over each line, his jaw tight. He read it twice, then a third time. The badge on the desk catching lamplight. The door burst open. The man stormed in, dust on his boots, face drawn. Sheriff. The sheriff didn't look up. He folded the letter once, careful, set it aside. You're late. Late for what? The sheriff leaned back, gaze fixed. News travels faster than horses. Got a letter today. Governor's own seal. The man frowned. What's that got to do with me? Everything. He stiffened. Tell me straight. The sheriff picked up the letter again, tapped it on the desk. Governor hears of a child, hears she might carry your name, hears that land you're so proud of could shift on account of it. The man's face reddened. That's lies. Then say so. I just did. The sheriff's voice was flat. Say it to him. In writing. The man blinked. What? Governor wants word. Wants truth. Wants me to write it down. Then write it down. She lies. The sheriff leaned forward. Truth in ink don't come easy. Once written, it holds. The man's throat tightened. You'll damn me with a pen? The sheriff's tone stayed calm. Not me. You. He stepped closer, palms flat on the desk. She's using that child to ruin me. The sheriff's eyes didn't move. Or to remind you. Of what? What you did. He slammed a fist down. I did nothing. The sheriff's voice sharpened. You forget. I was there after. I saw her that night. I saw your face the morning after. His eyes widened. You don't know. I know enough. The room was thick with silence. The badge gleamed cold, the letter waiting. The man's voice cracked. You think she can take my land with a story? The sheriff tapped the paper. Not just a story. A child. A name. A legacy. His hands shook. She'll drag me down. She'll raise herself up. He sneered. And you'll let her? The sheriff's gaze cut sharp. It ain't mine to let. He leaned close, almost spitting. You want me gone. The sheriff didn't flinch. Maybe I just want truth written. The man shook his head, desperate. If you put ink to that lie, it'll spread further than her whispers. It'll hang me. The sheriff's voice was low. Maybe it's time you were hung. His face blanched. You'd see me dead. I'd see the land right. I'd see the name honest. His jaw clenched. That child isn't mine. The sheriff tilted his head. Say it again. It isn't. Say it till you believe it. His voice cracked. It isn't. The sheriff stared long, then slow, almost cruel. Then why do your hands shake when you hold her? He froze, chest tight. What? Neighbor saw. Said you rocked her like your own. Said she quieted in your arms. His mouth opened. No words came. The sheriff's voice dropped lower. Truth shows in more than words. He backed away, shaking his head. You'll use her to take from me. She's not mine to use. She's not mine either. The sheriff's tone was cold. Then why's the governor writing about her? The man stared at the letter, eyes burning. She'll ruin more than me. Maybe that's the point. He stepped forward, trembling with rage. I'll fight it. I'll fight her. I'll fight you. The sheriff nodded once. Fight all you want, but when ink's dry, it outlives fists. The man's breath came fast, unsteady. Don't write it. I already did. His knees weakened. No. Yes. His voice dropped to a whisper. You've damned me. The sheriff's eyes hardened. You damned yourself the night you touched her. The man staggered back, pale. That was years ago. Years don't wash truth. He pressed a hand to his forehead, muttering, I was young. I was drunk. It meant nothing. The sheriff's voice cut. It meant everything to her. He groaned low, chest heavy. You don't understand. I understand enough. Silence thickened. The man looked at the letter again, horror settling. She'll use that child, he whispered. The sheriff corrected him. The child will use you. His head snapped up. What? Leverage, burden, reckoning, whatever you call it. She's not. Wait. You are. His hands trembled, sweat on his brow. I can't carry this. You already do. His breath rattled, desperate. Tell him it isn't true. The sheriff folded the letter, slipped it into an envelope. I told him what matters. What did you write? The sheriff's eyes met his. That the town has spoken. The man staggered back, voice cracking. That's no proof. It's enough. The badge gleamed in lamplight. The letter lay sealed, heavy as stone. The man whispered one last time, broken. She'll bury me. The sheriff's reply was steady. She already has. The sky cracked open with lightning. Wind drove dust against the windows, rattling wood. He hurried across the yard, head low, when he saw the cellar doors already open. He froze. He climbed down the steps slow, boots echoing on damp stone. The air was cool, heavy with earth. A lantern burned faint in the corner. She was there, sitting on a crate, baby in her arms. He stopped. Why here? She looked up. Storm's coming. You don't belong in my cellar. She rocked the baby. Then send us out. Thunder rolled overhead, shaking the ground. He clenched his jaw. You think hiding here makes you safe. Her voice was calm. I think hiding here makes you see. See what? What you did. He stiffened. I did nothing. You did. No. Yes. He stepped closer, voice sharp. Don't twist it. She met his eyes. That night. The barn. You remember. His throat tightened. You're wrong. I was 15. He froze, chest tight. She rocked the baby steady. You knew, and you did it anyway. His voice cracked. I was drunk. You were cruel. Lightning split above, white light flashing through the cracks. Water dripped down the stone walls. Steady, cold. He backed against the wall. I didn't force you. You silenced me. You left me there, alone. He swallowed hard. You never said no. Her voice cut sharp. I never could. The thunder crashed again, shaking dirt from the beams above. The baby stirred, but didn't wake. He whispered, shaking his head. It was a mistake. She held his gaze. It was a crime. His legs weakened. He sat heavy on a bench, hands trembling. I've carried it every day. No, you buried it. I tried to forget. And I remembered. The cellar dripped, water pooling at their feet. The lantern hissed low. He whispered, hollow. If I confess, they'll hang me. She answered calm. If you don't, you'll hang yourself. His breath came sharp. You'll destroy me. I'll tell the truth. He gritted his teeth. You waited too long. She rocked the baby, eyes never leaving him. I waited for her. He looked at the child, small face soft in sleep. His eyes burned. She doesn't deserve this. She deserves more than silence. His voice cracked, weak. What do you want? Her answer was steady. For you to name it. I can't. You must. He pressed his hands against his face, groaning low. I took what wasn't mine. She didn't move. Say it clearer. I touched you. His voice was barely a whisper. Louder. His chest heaved. I hurt you. The thunder cracked again, water running down the wall in thin streams. The baby shifted but stayed asleep. She whispered, steady. Now you know why she cries like she does. She carries your shame. He buried his face in his hands. God forgive me. Not God, she said. Me. He lifted his head, eyes wet. Can you? She looked down at the baby. No, but she might. His shoulders sagged, broken. What happens now? The storm passes. The truth stays. He stared at the dripping walls, listening to the thunder above. He felt trapped, the cellar heavy as a grave. The baby stirred, let out a soft sound, then settled again. He reached out, almost without thinking, his hand brushing her small arm. The woman didn't stop him. She only watched. He whispered, voice shaking. She's mine. The woman's eyes glistened. At last. The thunder rumbled again, softer this time, as if the storm itself had heard. He leaned back against the wall, tears running, whispering broken. She's mine. The woman held the baby close, her voice low, final. Now live with it. They sat in silence, the cellar dripping around them, the child asleep between. The storm raged above, but below, the truth had already struck. The old tree stood at the edge of the field, branches heavy, ropes scarred into its bark from years before. By morning, the townsfolk gathered there. Men leaned on rifles, chewing tobacco slow. Women clutched shawls tight, whispering sharp. Children hung back, wide-eyed. The air was heavy, waiting. He stood before them, eyes hollow, shirt damp from sweat. The woman was near, baby on her hip. The sheriff leaned against a post, calm, watchful, his badge dull in the gray light. A voice rose from the crowd. "We heard the seller talk." He shook his head fast. "Lies." Another voice cut in. "Then say so here." He swallowed hard. "She twists it." The woman's voice came steady. "I don't twist." "She does," he shouted. The baby whimpered, small sound against the silence. An old man spat in the dirt. "Child looks like him." He snapped back. "You see what you want." The sheriff spoke quiet. "We see what we're shown." The crowd murmured, words sliding from mouth to mouth. "She's his." He took what he wanted. He buried it. His chest heaved. "Stop it." The woman's gaze cut through him. "Say it now." "I did nothing." "You did everything." "No." "Yes." The crowd shifted closer, eyes sharp, feet crunching in the dirt. The tree loomed above them, silent, waiting. A woman from the crowd called, "Name her." He froze. "What?" "Name the child," she said. His throat worked. "She's not mine." The woman's voice broke clean through. "She's his." The baby whimpered again, louder this time. The sheriff's tone stayed even. "The people want truth." The man staggered forward, hands raised. "Truth. You want truth. I was drunk, young, foolish. It meant nothing." The crowd gasped. Whispers spread fast. The woman's voice was low, sharp. "It meant everything." His face twisted. "I never forced." "You silenced." "I never. You left me broken." The rope on the tree swayed slightly in the breeze. Men glanced at it, muttering low. "Should hang him." Like others before. The sheriff raised his hand, quieting them. His eyes stayed on the man. "You confessed enough." The man's voice cracked. "That was years ago." The woman stepped forward, baby close. "Years don't wash truth." The crowd echoed it back like a hymn. "Years don't wash truth." His knees buckled. He dropped into the dirt, hands trembling. "God forgive me." The sheriff's voice stayed cold. "God don't write ledgers." "We do." The woman's eyes burned steady. "And I wrote your name." The crowd stirred louder, faces hard. He looked up, desperate. "What do you want from me?" The woman answered calm. "For you to live with it." The rope swayed again, creaking soft. The sheriff stepped forward, his hand brushing the bark. A man muttered, "String him up." Another said, "He admitted." The sheriff shook his head slow. "Law doesn't hang him today. Truth already did." The man's breath rattled, chest hollow. He pressed his face to the dirt. "Please." The woman rocked the baby, voice soft. "She'll grow, knowing who you are." His shoulders shook. "Don't tell her." "I will." The sheriff's voice carried over them all. "The tree stands as judge, but the sentence is yours to carry." The crowd stayed still, silent, watching. No one moved toward the rope. No one moved away either. The baby stirred, gave a small cry, then settled. The sound seemed to close the air. Final. He knelt there, broken, the whispers circling like smoke. The woman turned, walked slow from the tree, the baby safe against her chest. The crowd parted for her. The sheriff stayed leaning on the trunk, eyes never leaving the man. At last he spoke, quiet but sharp. "Go on living. That's punishment enough." The man stayed in the dirt, trembling. The crowd drifted off, whispering, pointing, their judgment already sealed. The tree loomed above, silent, its shadow long across him. The cradle rocked slow, its creak sharp in the still room. Her hand moved gentle against the wood, though nothing lay inside, only folded cloth, pressed flat where the baby once was. She sat silent, eyes fixed on the cradle's hollow. A knock came at the door. She didn't move. "Where's the child?" a neighbor called, voice muffled. She kept rocking. The knock came again, harder. "She here," she whispered to the cradle. "Quiet now." The door creaked open. Two women stepped inside, skirts brushing the floor. They glanced at the cradle, then at her face. "Where's the baby?" one asked. She didn't answer. The other leaned closer. You give her away? Her hand kept the cradle steady. She's safe. Where? Not here. The women exchanged a look. One muttered, She's hiding her. The other's voice cut sharp. Or she lost her. The woman's eyes lifted. Neither. Then say. She looked back at the cradle. I don't have to. The first woman's voice softened, almost kind. We only ask. You don't ask. You judge. The second smirked. You judged him first. She met her eyes, steady. He judged himself. The women stepped back, unsettled by her calm. The cradle rocked on, empty. The door opened again. A man's voice from outside. Where's the child? She didn't answer. She gone. Her tone was quiet. She's where he can't touch her. Murmurs rose outside, footsteps gathering. Curiosity thickened like smoke. The women slipped back out, leaving her alone. She stood, moved to the table. The ledger lay there, her mother's handwriting stark against the page. She flipped it open slow, turned to the name written bold, underlined twice. His family's name. His debt. She tore the page free, careful, folding it neat. She carried it to the cradle. She whispered, lowering it inside. You'll rest here now. The paper lay in the hollow, pale against the dark wood. The cradle rocked with it, heavier than cloth. Outside, voices pressed against the walls. Where's the girl? What did she do? What's she hiding? The sheriff's boots creaked on the porch. The voices hushed at once. He opened the door slow. His hat was in his hand. He didn't step in, only stood at the threshold. His eyes moved from her to the cradle. He spoke low. She gone? The woman's voice stayed calm. She's safe. Where? Not here. The sheriff's eyes lingered on the rocking cradle. They'll want answers. They'll have silence. He nodded once, hat twisting in his hands. Silence carries. So does truth. He looked at her long, then at the folded paper inside the cradle. That his name? She nodded. The sheriff's jaw tightened. That'll weigh heavier than a child. Her hand pressed the cradle's side, keeping its rhythm. That's the point. The sheriff's eyes softened, but his voice stayed hard. They'll ask where she is until they die. Let them. They'll blame you. They already do. He shifted, the porch creaking under his boots. You certain she's safe? Yes. He breathed out slow. Good. She turned her gaze to him. You'll write it down. He looked again at the paper in the cradle. Already did. She nodded once. The sheriff stepped back, still holding his hat. You know he'll hear about this. He already knows. The sheriff's voice dropped. What if he comes? She stroked the cradle's edge. Let him stand here. Let him see his name where his child once lay. The sheriff said nothing. Outside, the neighbors shifted, whispering again. The baby's absence spread through them like fire, each guess harsher than the last. She killed it. She gave it away. She hid it from him. She ignored them all. Her eyes stayed on the cradle. The sheriff lingered a moment longer, then lowered his head. He closed the door behind him. The room was quiet again. Only the cradle's creak. She leaned close, whispered, Rest now. The worst of it's over. Her hand stayed steady on the cradle. Inside, the folded paper shifted slightly with each sway. His name inked bold, silent witness. The baby was gone. Whether taken, hidden, or freed, no one knew. But the cradle carried weight all the same. And in that weight, judgment lived.